Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Cold Fire Within. It was written by Christopher Smith Adair, and it's available from Chaosium and Drive-Thru RPG. Our game master is Keith Craig, and this is episode 10. Keith is going to give us the recap to refresh our memories since we've had a few game gaps. I would also like to start mentioning new patrons at the beginning of our show instead of at the end. And we do have one. Thomas Grooms has pledged $3 a month to our club. Thank you very much, Thomas. Oh, we also just got in our club pins. They're 2 inches high. They're enamel on metal with 2 posts on the back to secure them to your clothing. I think they turned out just great. Okay, enough business. Now, without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Keith?
Thanks, Tom. Notes from an observer of the curious planet Earth. I've been following a group of I believe they're called men for the past few weeks. They were approached by a woman named Mindy Sterling. Apparently, her husband has gone missing, and she requested them to investigate and see if they could figure out what happened. Apparently, the local law enforcement was unable to assist her and told her that he probably just ran out on her. She gave them a couple of clues that he had been acting strangely since associating with a so-called past lives expert, Leopold Fontanelli, and that he had been associating with a strange group called the League of Forgotten Men, apparently some acolytes of a radio personality of Father Coughlin. Well, the five headed out to do their due diligence. Apparently, they ran afoul of this league by failing to espouse their beliefs, but they did pick up some helpful clues that not only is there a Leopold Fontanelli and a Ferdinand Argus, who was the actual expert in past lives. Fontanelli was just the go-between to contact them with Ferdinand. So they decided to visit their places of residence. Leopold's residence was quickly being emptied out by his wife, and they found a few racist tracts and some letters that he had written to Mr. Argus. The letters indicated that they were planning to move the group up to the Saugerties Mountains for some purpose that the group has not been able to determine yet. While this occurred, a group of League members showed up, and there ensued a little fracas as the group fought amongst themselves, and definitely ensured that they were the enemies of the League of Forgotten Men. Following this, the group headed over to Ferdinand Argus's home. This was over in New Jersey, and they were greeted by the assistant of the Ferdinand Argus, who told him that he was not home and that he wasn't taking appointments until over a month later. The group nevertheless proceeded to investigate while cleverly distracting the assistant. Some of them went into the office of Ferdinand and set off what was a rather clever trap. A yellow gaseous drug was vented out, and the victims of this found themselves awake in space. They were on some rocks that were orbiting the planet that they call Saturn. What disturbed them even more than this was there was some cats there with tenderly bodies that began to give chase. Group took off running from these cats, a wise decision, but found that they were going to be unable to escape and chose to fight. While this was going on, a Mr. Chambers, Wyatt, was grabbed as he was in pursuit of some of the League members who had come to inspect what they were up to. The chase caused some fatalities, and Mr. Chambers was arrested by the police. Also, at this time, once they escaped from the cats of Saturn, Owen, one of the members of the group, sustained some fatal blows in a fight. Sadly, he passed on. But a few days later, uh, another investigator decided to join them, a rather strong, muscly person named Alexios. Alexios had a connection to Damio, and they decided to join in the fun of trying to find Brendan Sterling. Wyatt, meanwhile, was discovered that he was not only in the custody of the police, but that the police chief was in league with the Forgotten Gentleman, and he disappeared. His location I'll be revealing later on. This was quite disturbing to the members, but they happily met another investigator willing to join them, a odd Russian man named Boris, who had a shady past in Russia, leading a group of acolytes, is what we'll call them. Why he came to America, I do not know, but he was here and he joined in. Once they've exhausted the leads in New York, the group decided to head up to the Saugerties. Before they headed out, a Mr. Blake received a letter from a former lover, a Dr. Calisham, who was the director of the Slaughter Institute in Woodstock, which was not far from Saugerties. So the group decided that they would investigate the Slaughter Institute since they will be nearby Saugerties. But first, they decided to see if they could get a lead on where the Ferdinand and Leopold and their thugs went. Once they arrived in Saugerties, Mr. Blake and Alexios, they noticed that there was some rather large gentlemen, just a little bit smaller than Alexios, but still very large gentlemen, watching them. And most disturbing of all, they were wearing the telltale armband of the League of Forgotten Gentlemen. Mr. Blake demonstrated some quite well hypnotizing skills and convinced them that they should leave. They hoped that would be the end of who they discovered was known as the Weblin brothers, local bullies of the county. After asking a few questions around and talking to the locals, they discovered that Ferdinand and Leopold and their fellow followers hired the Weblin boys to take them up into the Catskill Mountains near the Devil's Pass, a notorious trail up there that is that the Dutch named since they believed that only cloven-hoofed people would be able to walk on it. The group decided, well, we should follow on. And they purchased camping supplies, but realized they did not have a vehicle to make it up into Saugerties. Mr. Blake decided, well, since I've sent the Weblin boys away, they took it up there before, they obviously have a truck. They went to the Weblin boys' home, and there was a truck present, but unfortunately, so were the Weblin boys, who brought all the group into their ramshackle hut and held them hostage. Of course, our group of heroes were not hired because of their passivity, and a grand melee occurred. In this moment, Damio revealed his strange telekinetic powers by ripping the eyeballs out of one of the Weblin boys. This caused the younger Weblin boy to decide that he'd had enough and he was going to run to get the truck where he had a bigger gun. Alexios was not going to let this happen, ran him down and caught him. Boris interrogated them, but after many years spent in the harsh Russian area in the Cossack region, he executed both Weblin boys. Marsden devised a way to clean up the area, and they were they quickly vacated the spot and decided that they should head over to Woodstock, maybe to lay low. When they arrived at the Slaughter Institute, they were greeted by Dr. Kalisham, who was quite happy to see them. They noticed that most of the institute was empty, as they've not been getting recent subjects, as they've had a terrible tendency of people disappearing on them. Dr. Kalisham was quite frantic to be able to get this solved, so much so that she reached out to a former paramour. While they were doing the investigation, they met the other doctor there, Dr. Bertram Winslow, who informed them of a strange device up in the attic that the previous director of the institute had built before he disappeared. The group decided that they were going to check this device out on that night. After going up there, Damio and Milton strapped on the device, and where they felt that they were in a place of a Lomarian build for several hours, they approached the tower that Mr. Blake had seen in his vision before. They decided to turn around and head back. They woke back up and were quite surprised when the other group, those still in the waking world, thought they had only been gone for a minute. Seeing an opportunity to possibly investigate further, they decided that in the middle of the night they were going to use this device again. Those plans were upset when a spirit arrived at the institute. Esmeralda Ash, one of the missing patients that disappeared. She was known as being quite uncooperative. Milton and Boris decided to engage with her, and they soon realized that as strong as minded as they were well beneath her abilities, as she drained them of their magic and started draining their life at the same time. Marsden she found quite fascinating, as he was able to resist her pull, but she decided that she'd had enough with these meddling investigators and headed back out. The next day, after doing a little investigation out in the woods and seeing if they could find any clues of where this Esmeralda had come through, they decided that it's the evening, it's time to use the device again. Everyone's strapped in except for Alexios and Boris, and they were immediately transported again to Dreamland of Lomar. Alexios deciding that after seeing Boris execute two men, that he'd had enough, and he quietly snuck out while Boris was watching the device. The three that found themselves in the Dreamlands made their way to the tower, and as they came in, they were greeted by Zelrathos, who an ancient-looking gentleman, but most shockingly of all, he was sitting there laughing and joking with their missing companion, Wyatt Chambers. And that is where we will pick up.
Excellent. Now, you were saying also that you'd like to talk to Morgan and Jason about what their characters have been doing. So we will give us the thumbs up when you need us to come back.
I shall. All right. So Wyatt, as I emailed you, after you were grabbed by the League of Forgotten Gentlemen, they tortured you to try and get information out of you. You were beaten and abused, and then most horrifically of all, ripped from your body and cast into the Dreamlands by Ferdinand. That would have been the end, as the Zoogs would have devoured you in your weakened state, but you were happily found by Zelrathos, who was out wandering one day with his friendly cat. He decided that he took pity on you and he's adopted you. And for the past 30 years of Dreamlands time, you've lived here and you've become his adopted son. At times, you think that he's actually training you to take over for him when he passes on to take over the leadership. But your stories of your friends has let him know that you still have a connection to what you call the waking world. While here, you cleverly designed a device that you mounted on top of the tower that immediately translates everyone's language to something that they can understand while they are in Lomar, explaining why Damio and Milton were able to understand everyone talking. And while there, you've met a Nathaniel Cooper who has been in the Dreamlands time at the past 10 years. I'll let Nathaniel introduce his character.
Well, you see, Nathaniel E. Cooper is my name, a poet by trade. And well, after reading good old Walden, I was inspired to join the Transcendentalist movement and found a cabin of my own. And I've been researching and trying to find a better way to distance myself from society. And in doing so, I met a peculiar gentleman named Randolph Carter who talked about a land of dreams. And after discovering a recipe of local moonshine in the Woodstock area that allowed me to travel to this place, I've been spending as much time as I possibly can here and hope that it gets my creative energies flowing. It's become a home away from home, and sometimes I struggle to remember what the waking world is even like anymore.
Excellent. Do either of you have any questions you'd like to ask before we clear the others back on headset?
I need to know what my luck and my sanity would be now.
Your sanity is back to, after 30 years here, your sanity's recovered back to what you started at.
All right.
Your luck, we'll just do a normal luck improvement roll.
All right. So it'd be back to where my base would be.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 75 and no. So just 75.
Okay. One thing you both have been learned how to do is you've learned.
Pulp,
yes,
right?
it is. It is Pulp.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did get something. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. You both have learned that you are able to create items out of thin air with a simple power roll, but you get a bonus dice if that was an item that you actually owned while you were in the waking world to create.
Oh. So I think I would have my
armor and all that good stuff. Yeah. All right.
I
I'm gonna give
modified it to look like it would be to fit in here.
Nice. I'll give him thumbs up. All right. All right. So the three of you, Damiel, Milton, and Marsden, you had just entered into the tower, and you saw the old man laughing and joking with Wyatt. And he stands up when you walk in, and he goes, "Welcome, welcome."
Wyatt?
Father, that's the guys I told you about.
Ah, they did come. Zeal was correct. He did say that he'd be able to get them to our city.
I run over and give Marsden a big hug. Lift him off the ground.
You disappeared.
It only took you 30 years to find me.
It hasn't been that long for us, just days.
Yeah, 29 years, 11 months, and 5 days.
We thought that the police had done something to you.
I'm not exactly sure where I am, but I'm here. If you understand. I mean
where your body is.
confusing.
Yes, I suspect you're up by Devil's Pass, actually, with someone else occupying your form.
Well, unless they just took him out into the back and killed him.
Now, Keith, what is the gentleman's name again? My adopted father?
Zelrathos. Zelrathos. Zelrathos.
Excuse my manners. This is Zaladoth, and then I introduce everybody individually to him.
Ah, good,
And
good. Is he? Are they from the same region as your one friend Nathaniel?
yeah, so relatively, yes. Is
Oh.
Nathaniel here?
Yep. He's kind of like sitting maybe in an alcove reading when you heard.
Yes, do you need something?
These are my friends I've been yammering on about all these years.
Oh my God. Well, charmed to meet you. You hear somebody talk about someone for 9 years. You get a hankering to meet them.
Aha. Marsden Lethbridge is the name. This is Dracos Blake.
We're
What's the last thing you remember from the terrestrial realm?
Well, it was a nice sunny day out when I decided to come here, and well, unless anything disastrous has happened, by my calculations, I went to sleep maybe 3 days ago, your time of the terrestrial world.
and it seems to you like it's been 9 years.
10, about 10, coming up on 10.
But you came here intentionally.
Oh, yes.
What mechanism did you employ?
Well, during Prohibition, I got a hankering for this local moonshine, and it turns out what they've decided to use is pretty potent for getting here.
So a drug of some sort. We've used a machine, something that Wyatt, you would be very interested in seeing, I imagine. How did you get here?
Well, you remember those mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging troglodytes?
Yeah.
Tied me to a chair, sliced me up, beat me, kicked me, punched me. I think they shot me. I'm not sure. And then I woke up on these, and I described the planes and these creatures, and then I look and I go, my new dad here took me in and helped me. He saved my life, and he's brought me here and helped raise me. And I mean, I've been here longer than I was on Earth.
Keeper, does he look like he's aged 29 years?
He has not. He does not.
Well, forgive us. We're still getting used to this whole concept. I mean, we've always sort of had the notion that when you dream, it actually doesn't take as long in the real world. But
yes, well, you see, when the conquistadors came over here looking for the Fountain of Youth, they were looking in the wrong place.
Fountain of Youth. Now, are we talking about, is this the Fountain of Youth?
Well, being here, it is in a way. Think about it. I've gotten 10 years out of 3 days. That's an eternity for us humans.
So,
The amount of time you can find down here.
I don't remember why, if we had found the information yet when you were with us, but we were heading up towards an institute, the Slaughter Institute, New York. Do you remember that, Wyatt?
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
I remember electrocuting the guy and then being in the hospital, and everything after the hospital is just kind of flashes and punches and lots.
Well,
of
we are currently at that institute. We've discovered that there is a machine in the upstairs that was built by a previous director, and it allows us to come into this Lomar. But nearby, a few miles away, those brutes that may have killed you, they're all held up in a mountain, I don't know, fortress, or there's something up there in the mountains where they all are. We know the general direction of it.
If I'm to go back and help you, where would I appear? Like, I don't know what's
Maybe
up
your
with my
friend there
body.
knows.
Why? I've told you this. I think about 5 years ago, if you recall. You wake up where you went to sleep.
Right, but I
What if
might
it's-
be in a coma.
You might be in the grave.
Or, yeah.
There's tales in the time that I've been here of dreamers who die in the waking world and then live on forever here.
Oh,
That
yes.
could be what's happened to you, Wyatt. But I mean, that's no small tragedy. Well, it's not a tragedy at all. I don't know why I called it small. That's nothing.
If that's the case, wasn't there something that we were figuring out how to do with Crystal, where we could transfer your mind into some other body?
You speak of the crystal of Nafkan.
Yes, I think we ran into the reference for that and how to create it.
Yes, we have.
Oh, must have been a very old reference. That from what I understood, that knowledge was lost when Lomar fell.
Now you're referring to Lomar where you are in the past tense.
The Lomar that was in actually in the waking world is what I refer to. In
So
your
this city
universe.
existed in the real world at one point.
Long
yes.
ago.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yes. Nathaniel summed that up. Long time ago by your counts of years. An eternity by our count of years.
So that's what you're seeing, Milton.
And if you look, I don't have any of my facial scars.
Zelrathos, you're
Yes.
familiar with the Crystal of Navkan.
Oh,
Are you
yes.
familiar with a group of renegade Lamarians who are attempting to take over bodies in the waking realm in order to reconstruct some sort of new Lamarian civilization?
I've heard stories of a Lomarian that proposed that back when Lomar stood, a Thetranos. You're not saying that he perfected that and was able to do that? That would be most blasphemous and evil.
He strikes me as a rather high score on the blasphemy and evil scale. He's taken several unwilling captives from the waking world and replaced them with the essences of ancient Lemurians. And they're right now attempting to work some horrific work.
Oh, that is most distressing. To do that and to upset the timelines would have consequences that he might not know about or even care about. Like I feel sorry for your world.
I look towards Zelathos and I say, is there anything that we can do to help Earth?
There might be. I would have to go consult with Arapathos to find out. He is the most knowledgeable. You remember?
Yeah.
But first, we have dinner coming. I was told that we had visitors not long ago, and I anticipated that we'd have some here. I was only told 2, but we can easily cook up some more Zoog for the third.
Ooh, Zook.
Oh, you are in for a treat. They definitely know how to cook Zook here.
Sounds better than head cheese.
Not familiar with that, but it is quite tasty. Zeal catches them and brings them here himself.
These Zoogs are terrestrial creatures.
They're quite nasty little buggers. They skulk around in the woods by the stairs of slumber. Yeah, they taste delicious.
Oh yeah. Yes. He's like come. Was there a long line behind you?
Was there a long line?
Not really.
Not really.
Oh well, they know it's dinner time. Most of the time they come here asking for simple things like should they plant plants and all. I've tried to teach them to move on, but something about the remnants of Lomar and their bowing down to the leaders back then remains. But they will be fine. It's not often that we get so many visitors that are friends of my son.
Shall I tell them to come back in the morning?
Oh yes, please, yes.
And I go off and attend to the crowd.
So we, in theory, could stay here quite a while and go right back.
Oh yes.
Three years a day, we could say.
I believe that's what Nathaniel had worked out. I've never.
It's 3 years and a quarter, give or take a couple weeks.
Well, how long did we tell Alexios and the Russian fellow that we were going to be in the machine?
Well, as on last use, you woke up spontaneously after only a couple of minutes, which you perceived as hours. I assume they'll just expect us to snap to fairly soon. And should anything untoward occur in the waking realm, I'm sure they'll rouse us.
Okay, so we could disappear at any moment.
Oh well. You could always return home at any moment or disappear at any moment. I'm not sure how that would occur without your desires, but I'm learning much about your world.
We have people watching over us. They could wake us up.
Oh,
They could pull us back. Safety precaution.
One thing that does strike me as being potentially dangerous for being asleep for so long, like in the multiple days, that surely there's the concern about dehydration and potentially dying of thirst.
Yeah, don't worry. I remember. In about a year from now, I should return, drink some water, have a nice meal, and then come back for another stint of a decade or so.
And
you've
never gone back, Wyatt, so I don't know how your body could actually be alive.
I quite enjoy it here, actually. I spent the first few years working on a translation device on the tower, so all visitors can understand one another.
That explains it. We were having this discussion on the first trip, wondering how we were able to communicate between each other.
Oh, once Wyatt comes back from the door, Zelrathos rises and he's like, please, we have wine and a meal set. Zeal will be joining us. I'm quite excited.
And you are something of a high priest here, Zelrathos?
Oh, they look to me as their what Wyatt has explained to me almost be like a king, although that is not the what I would like. I've been trying to get the Lomarians to just live on their own. You know, we're a very for the most part a very tranquil people, which is why we were so easily overrun by those foul beasts long ago.
Do you know where those things came from?
Oh, I don't. I mean, you have to understand that most of the history was an oral tradition for thousands upon thousands of years, and so it's mostly rumors. Arapathus and I have been able to piece together what appears multiple times and determine that's probably the closest to the truth that we'll ever know. He postulates that there are multiple worlds where one could travel back to that time. You go into a large room. There is a large table, but instead of like a normal rectangular table where you would sit, there's like a kind of an indentation cut in, so you can easily have like 3 plates kind of around you, all the same equidistance from you. You notice one chair is almost like I don't is much higher than the others, not like a baby's high chair, just sits up higher like someone much shorter would be sitting on it normally. And he goes, "Oh, please, have a seat. Have a seat. Uh, Zeal will be joining us. He's just supervising the last of the cooking." He goes, "So, how did you how did you find this machine? You said that someone else had built it."
We can
Some
tell him the
years
whole
ago.
story.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of nods and all. And then the door opens and some servants bring in like some platters, and it smells amazing, much better than head cheese for Milton there.
I forget the name of the person who invented the machine, but when
Dr.
we mention him, do they know who it is?
Dr. Nesbitt, they do not. They don't recognize that name at all.
I thought he would have come here then.
And behind the servants, you see a Theodore the cat walking behind them, and he hops up into the high chair, and he looks at it. He goes, "Oh, my friends, you're here. Oh, come now, Milton, pick that jaw up. Surely you must not think that us cats in the waking world sleep and don't go anywhere. Why do you think we sleep so long? We have our duties here in the actual world."
Well, bear in mind where we first met.
Ah, yes, in that strange house. Yeah.
That
Wish
means
I could
I'll
speak
use
cat a bit better.
a bit shocked.
Yeah. And the three of you can make a sanity roll for seeing a talking cat.
Yeah, that blew my mind. And
Theodore
I
Toad.
lost it.
It's only 1 point. It's just like, what?
But 30 out of 80, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I passed. The problem isn't the cat that talks here, it's that the cats in the regular world know what things that they pretend not to around us. That's disturbing.
Well,
Because they're arrogant.
Hugh, it's not that we pretend we don't know. It's that I hope you don't take offense to this. Sometimes subspecies is not worth bothering with them. Just like you don't explain to ants, we don't explain to you.
Well, if you'd tipped us off about the litter box a few centuries earlier, you would have been great deal more comfortable yourselves.
Yes, that is a primitive but effective. Yes. Like, but as I'm sure Zelrathos alluded to, my true name is Zeal. That's what I go by. I did appreciate that you gave me a name, Mr. Blake, but if you could kindly call me Zeal from now on, I'll probably be a little more receptive.
I'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
Now, how do you direct the cooking of the zoog without, these fellows?
Oh, it's simple of telling them how long it needs to be on there, what spices they need. I found that you people tend to like it a little more cooked than I do. I like mine pretty raw.
Well, you like your zoo veritably bleeding, Zeal.
Yes. Sometimes if it doesn't kick when I bite into it, it's too cooked. But please, eat. Nay, he kind of sits back, and Zelrathos and Zeal they start talking, and Zelrathos goes, they're looking for some of the crystals. Ah, yes, I had heard them saying that in the waking world. I was unable to relay to it. Our in that world, our vocal cords have not developed enough. He goes, we could teach them.
Yes, we have a set of instructions and some raw materials, but we might be able to correct some subtle errors in the instructions that we have.
Hmm. Zelrathos kind of looks at you. He's like, and who would be the one attempting to make these crystals?
I'm primarily responsible for the project.
Ah, tell me, do you like hats?
I understand their utility.
Hmm. Can you make one appear on your head?
Not in the waking world. Let me try it here.
Right here. And give me a power roll.
I just rolled them. Where are they?
Are there books on the shelf where Nathan was sitting?
Oh, there's lots of books. I
Yes.
keep lots of books around.
As that's going on, I want to see if I can make one of the books come to me using telekinesis.
Okay. All right. Marsden, how'd your power roll go?
Hard success.
All right. What type of hat would you like to appear on your head?
Oh, no handy props. Where's my stew drawer? So a tricorn, I guess.
He kind of chuckles. And Damiel, how'd your telekinesis go?
I missed by 2, so I'll spend 2 luck to make it work.
Okay. All right. Yep. One of the books starts floating over.
Oh, you also read Thoreau.
No. I just wanted a book. I'm just going to hold the book in the air and see if it works.
Okay. Give me another telekinesis roll.
Yeah, I'd have to spend too much for that one, so
Yeah.
it's in my hand.
Yeah. And nod. And now once you've got the hat, Zelrathos goes, "Oh, you are of a strong mind. I will take you to Arapathus. He'll be able to assist you in creating those crystals."
It would be most generous of you. And if you're correct in your belief about the disturbance of the timeline, it might be beneficial for many others.
Yes, it would. They upset it too much. It could be even disastrous on our end. After all, can there truly be a Dreamlands if there's no one left to dream?
Right. The cats are awake a few hours a day, after all. They must have some purpose there.
Oh, Zeal looks up. He's like going, our purpose is to make sure that you guys don't cause too much trouble.
And to knock things off shelves.
Oh, well, that's because you keep putting things in the wrong spot. Oh, the meal passes on. It's a typical, almost like a Mediterranean style pace of eating, so it takes several hours. But the wine is quite good if you sample it. It's probably the best food you've had, even beating out the jambalaya that was at the hotel that you stayed at in Socrates.
Nathaniel, are there any books you have on powers of the mind, telekinesis?
No, I'm quite amazed at your capability. It would save so much time when you want to switch books instead of having to walk all the way over there. Although here, you can simply conjure the next one.
This isn't a dreaming ability, though. It's an ability I actually have in the waking world.
Now that is something I'd like to see.
Where are you sleeping?
Oh, I am sleeping in a family cabin in the Woodstock area, New York.
Oh,
Quite convenient to our physical location, in fact.
Oh,
Do you know the Slaughter Institute?
I'm familiar. I've passed it a couple of times.
It's haunted.
Is it so? Most fascinating, the things that you overlook.
Something
Perhaps
that...
the...
No, go on.
No, I was going to say, perhaps there's more intriguing things in the waking world than I give it credit for.
You should visit once in a while. Do you have any books here that don't exist in the waking world?
Oh, there are plenty of them, but I don't have them here. There's a library in Ulthar that's quite stocked with good reading material, but it's been a couple of years since I've been down there last.
When he said Althar, Zeal perked up and he goes, "Oh, I wasn't aware that you had been to my homeland."
Yes, it's quite a lovely place. You say you definitely know where to put things in the right spots. So
That we do.
Uh,
Were you gonna say something, Milton?
I was just going to mention about the comment about ghosts, that I'm not too sure it's actually a ghost per se, but something that could very easily be mistaken as one. In fact, actually, you're the wise man here. There's someone that's connected. I'm going to describe the dear ghostly assailant from last night. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
The Bride.
Yes,
Esmeralda?
that's
Ash.
the one. Yeah, and see if does that description ring any bells? Do you know her by a different name?
No, I'm not familiar with this person.
Yeah. I suppose that's a good thing for you then.
Yes, if she's anything like you described, I would not want to encounter her. She sounds like very strong-minded.
Yes. With some very questionable morals.
Now, Father, if what my friends from the waking world say is going on, it would be dangerous for the Earth as it would be for the Dreamlands. I'm duly obligated to help them, but I don't know if I should go back to my body. And of course, I give you my word that I will return and continue my training.
Because I see the wisdom in your statements. He's like, I agree that just hopping back to your body could be quite dangerous. Maybe you could journey in the crystal and still be able to advise them. I don't know if you'd be able to find a willing body to transfer with. Just remember that forcing someone out of their body is against all of our laws.
I remember.
If
possibly,
Go ahead.
we might find someone perhaps who's not got a mind in a hospital, in a coma. That kind of thing, a body.
Well, hey, it could just be Wyatt. Just be ensure. Just touch their mind at first. Remember, if they're in what you described as a coma, they're somewhere here in the lands.
Now, if I understood Mr. Cooper correctly, if someone is in the Dreamland, which is where this Lomar is, and their body dies in the waking world, they remain here eternally. But does anybody ever come here because they are killed in the waking world?
If they have, I've not met them, but the world is quite large, and I don't want to say that it has never occurred.
You see, I haven't entirely given up on getting Wyatt his actual body back. We just don't know in whose possession or in what condition it is.
Well, I would feel much more comfortable if we could locate my dear friend's body in the waking world before he made such an attempt. Otherwise, we could lose him forever.
Well, of course. But We talked about food and drink. How could he have been here for 40 years? Unless somebody's keeping him alive. Maybe you are in a hospital.
Could be in a hospital, or my body could have passed, and I'm just here now, where I belong.
Or
Perhaps
your
if
body
you
could
were-
be in a very bad state. And we need to rescue you.
If someone used the crystal to force Wyatt out of his body so they could take it over, would that have sent him here?
Yes, it could have. And I think that he was from what I've gathered, he was forced out by someone that had an attachment to Lomar. Maybe not this Lomar, but an old Lomar, which is why he was dropped so near to us.
Yes. I think Wyatt's body is with the Nazis.
So in theory, if I was in a stone and you located
Your body,
me,
you
I
could
could
just take
jump
it back.
back into my body, forcing him out, and maybe get the upper hand on whoever is there. But if I jumped in by myself, it would be a precarious situation. You
Well,
remember, Father, when I came here, how angry I was? It took 10 years just to calm my.
Oh,
He's still a little angry.
well, we don't lose all our personality, but yes, I do remember the yelling at the walls and at the sky. I did not understand it at the time, but I'm beginning to understand. Yes, but yes, so then this is Zeal talking. He goes, Marsden, how about we head out tomorrow to go meet to introduce you to a Rapathus, and we can get started on those stones.
I would be delighted. In fact, I don't need to wait until tomorrow.
Oh, well, I need to head back to the waking world for a bit.
Very well. How do we arrange accommodations here?
Oh, and Zelrathoth speaks up. He goes, "Oh, we have rooms up on the third floor." No, as I was told, is called room service. So you will have to make the beds yourself.
I was surprised to see that there were servants here at all. I would expect such an advanced civilization to be more egalitarian.
Well, everyone needs jobs, of course.
Jobs in the dream worlds. I don't know about any of you, but I'm completely overwhelmed. I need some time to process. I think I'll just go sit over there.
Well, Damiel, remember, teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, I think I want to get back there.
So, and with that, Zeal hops up, and he goes, I'm going to head to my room to get some rest and make sure that no one's messing with me. That dreadful dog in the real world, he smells awful. Such a subhuman creature.
He's a Riley one, from what I understand.
Oh yes, he came in handy at one time. I bid you good night, and I will see you in the morning, Mr. Lethbridge.
Thank you for your kindnesses.
And he kind of hops down, stretches like cats do, and then kind of bounds out the door.
That's
So,
what it takes getting used to.
oh, it only took me about 3 years. You'll get the hang of it eventually. Damiel, was it?
Yes.
How long have you been able to move objects with your mind?
Well, let me tell you the story. I was raised very strict Greek Orthodox Christian, and recently I encountered something that enlightened me and showed me that something had happened in my childhood. My parents had actually done something to suppress my abilities. Once I'd sort of begun to experiment with this, it kind of shattered my religious faith. I'm still kind of in the process of trying to figure out what I believe. But since then, I've been practicing. So it's only been about a month, maybe a little longer, that I've been trying to do this. And I have limited success. I'm able to do it at times and at other times not. But I want to make it a much more controllable ability.
I see.
It's not normal for people to have these kind of abilities. Milton and the Russian fellow and all, they seem to be able to commune with the dead. But I kind of, no offense, Milton, but nobody can see them but you, or the Russian fellow. Y'all can see me move something with my mind and see it. I mean, that poor fella that I fucked his eyes out.
Well, I'm not normally able to see the dead. That's not how this thing works, as far as I've been able to tell.
But you have you have prophecy.
Well, more clairvoyance, being able to see where things are, so follow sympathetic connections to things. Maybe see the occasional thing that's unseen, but not generally ghosts. I mean, that's why my day job is debunking such things.
I'm getting you confused then with the Russian fellow.
Yeah, he's the one that sees dead people.
And then Marston, you do the cards, right?
Yes. Also an imperfect science, but I'm developing it.
So for a while there, I felt a little out of place until I suddenly discovered that I could move things with my mind. It takes a lot of concentration.
Well, I am most impressed by all of you. These are quite remarkable.
Well, you discovered magic moonshine. That's rather impressive.
Yes, but that was quite by accident.
What's the special ingredient?
I don't know. They won't tell me.
It's not a Pappy's brand product, is it?
No. Just it's a couple of the local boys cook it up in a shed.
Oh, I hope it wasn't the Weblin brothers.
I don't believe so. Nasty old boys.
I guess my religious background makes me ask the question, who's in charge of all of this?
In charge of what now?
Well, I mean, we're always wondering who made the world, who made the universe, who made the Dreamlands. Obviously, this has all come from somewhere.
Well, I met a man. Well, it's how I learned of this place's existence in the first place and tried to find a way to find it. His name was Randolph Carter, and he set out to find such a person. And he advises strongly against following in his footsteps. So I have no intentions of doing so.
Man who went looking for God and found something and then wishes that he hadn't. It sounds like a novel written by some crazy author.
But at least in this area of the Dreamlands, this man runs it, and I point us at my dad.
Did we call this a city, Lomar? Where was it originally located? Do you know?
Oh, it was located at the North Pole.
Really?
Yes. But at that time, it wasn't as cold as it's been explained to me now. That apparently the poles are frozen now.
Time being, yes. But there have been many periods of varying climate and different positionings even of the continents themselves.
Ah, yes. Yeah. There's nothing that can withstand the march of time.
Now, one thing that came up in some of the books that we looked at previously was this running theme about Hollow Earth theory. I'm not sure if it's me as a player thinking of stuff that I've read about this, or if it's stuff that's come up in game. But isn't there supposed to be an entrance to the Hollow Earth up at the North Pole?
Yes, there was.
Both poles. Admiral
I don't-
Byrd apparently flew into it.
Yeah. Now, of course, me saying that there's one at the North Pole, that's one of the pieces that we've been able to put together. I've never actually confirmed that there is, because I've never been to your world.
Oh, so you're not a survivor of ancient Lomar.
Oh,
You're
no.
You're a Lomarian of the Dreamlands.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You were born here.
Yes. Over 90 years ago.
So perhaps if you came to our world, you'd be a dream person there.
That is a most curious supposition. I'm not sure what would happen. I'll have to talk to Zeal what he thinks. He's the most experienced one around.
And why? You haven't attempted to awake and failed?
I mean, and I go like that on my face. My scars are gone. Anything I want, I learned to, through proper teaching, to try and dream, well, lack of better terms, dream for, and I have it. And I have a new family, and he's teaching me everything about this realm.
And when you ask that question, Marsden, you see Zelrathos gets a troubled look on his face, and he goes, sadly, Wyatt would not be able to wake like Nathaniel would. Someone that has been forced here against their will, they are often trapped.
Yes, yes. And again, we do not know the disposition of Wyatt's earthly body, if he still has one.
We're talking about this without thinking about Wyatt, though. Wyatt said that you don't want to leave.
I mean, I will assist my good friends in saving Earth, especially if it will in turn affect Loma. I mean, I've been groomed for 30 years here to assist my father.
So,
Well, if you want to return, we'll do what we can.
And of course, the period after return is quite troublesome because, well, it's rather obnoxious to not be able to conjure things into your hand. Always hard to remember where you put things.
Pull off the thing, and I take out the chain whip, and I go, I've been 20 years since I've needed to, but, and I hook it back on my waist, and we're peaceful here.
Well, I'm beside myself. I have to sit and process.
But I promise all of you, you have my full assistance, and then I will return by my father's side.
Oh, and Zelrathos goes, that is wonderful to hear. But whereas Damio is wide awake, and Marsden, I've gathered that he's awake, I have been up for many hours, and now I must head to bed. I bid all of you good night. Although it's ironic here, the sun never rises, so it's always this shade. But I will see you in 8 hours, I believe, is the standard sleeping time for your species.
Except that it's actually 49 years for us. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm joking. 1-1.
A smile. He has a very warm smile that even extends into his eyes, and he's like, He's like, I understand the confusion.
And before he even stands up, I'm at his side to assist him, and I walk with him to, make sure he gets, I come.
He goes, you promised that they would come, and they did, and I'm glad.
I knew they would.
Cooper,
Yeah.
do I understand correctly that people in here sleep?
They do.
Do they dream?
Sometimes.
Well, none of this seems remotely scientific.
Dean Marsden, that's what I've been saying. I think there's a dream world at the dream world. They say I'm
Well, from what I've heard, there's a Dreamlands for every planet in the solar system. I've heard Zeal talk about his stints to the moon.
Didn't that author Edgar Allan Poe say everything is but a dream within a dream?
Oh.
Maybe it's literally a dream within a dream, and a dream within that, and a dream within.
I strongly suspect that he's been here at some point in his life.
What is
I wonder
consciousness?
about the effects of excessive laudanum consumption on that travel mechanism.
Well, the trouble is people slowly lose the touch of coming here as they grow older. So most of us need something to help us. So those of us who are fortunate to find such things are quite blessed.
How do you occupy? Zeldathal said that everyone had to have a job. Do you have employment in the dream world?
Well, those who are native to the dream worlds have occupation. Those of us who are dreamers are generally free to do as we wish. I am a poet by trade in the waking world, and I sometimes lend myself to assist with festivities and celebrations, odes, ballads, whatever events worth celebrating, I try to put on paper.
How is what is the cultural level of dream worlds, Lomar?
Well,
I was gonna say, so they're not. They are their cultural level, like their technology level, is probably, before Wyatt got here, they were probably, Roman Empire type technology level, but their cultural level, quite refined and advanced. So.
Yeah, a lot of them are probably modern people in our world.
Well, there are cities that I've heard that are devoted entirely to the arts. I would love to find and visit one someday. But Lomar, I've called my home for the last 9 years, this time in the Dreamlands. And it's quite a pleasant place to be.
All right. Was there anything you would like to do before the morning when Zeal comes down to collect Marsden?
I think I'll wander about. I mean, as long as I can keep my bearings, so that I know where to go. The tower is easy enough to find.
Right. Yep.
I was having similar thoughts. Maybe we'll be able to tire ourselves a little bit, and so that I'll be, suitably sharp when in the morning, when the cat comes back to help me wield technological magic.
Do we have, I'm sorry, you said it earlier, do we have rooms or?
Yes. Yep. They have rooms for you on the 3rd floor.
Here, let me show you up there.
All right.
So I believe this one's unoccupied. We don't often have too many visitors, so I think any in down this hall, you should be fine.
And we find simple chambers with low mattresses on the floor and long round pillows and.
Yep. Yeah. Just the The beds are kind of they only come up to maybe like the top of your calf, not quite to your knee, but they are soft and do seem comfortable.
Well, Cooper, if you are not retiring yourself, you could show Damiel and I. Blake, are you interested? Neighborhood tour?
Oh yes, the grand tour.
I will
Yeah, not too
accompany.
All right.
Yes, and Wyatt has told me of your of you all over the years, and no, it sounds like you've had quite the trouble back on Earth.
Yes. It's been a curious bit of time. Have you been paying attention to this Nazi thing at all happening overseas?
I've heard of it. Most dreadful things that are going on.
Well, the ancient Lemurians are teamed up with our homegrown Nazis, and it's an altogether very vile affair. Wyatt, you're not going to believe the changes that Damiel has undergone since you've been away.
I noticed. I didn't want to talk about it before, but now when we go outside, I make sure to fully hood myself. I would put it up, but it's gonna hit the microphone, so
Understood. Yeah.
make sure I'm not, noticed.
Because you're a prince?
Maybe.
All
Well,
right.
you're the son of the leader,
The Zelrothos.
the wise man.
All right. So when you guys head out, the night sky is, still there, as it was implied. It never really changes. The stars are out, and the various street lights just have a glowing globe in it. So definitely not electricity have it going. But you do notice there are less people on the street than when you arrived.
So there's just some sort of consensus about what qualifies as night, maybe after 3 meals, and then
Right.
people retire to, where do they go when they dream?
That's what I debate about a lot, but
I tell you, Wyatt, there has to be a dream within the dream. I mean, you dream here, I dream here, others dream here.
It
so
makes me
there
question the
must
very
be
nature of
another
reality itself.
Yes,
What
who's to
if-
say we've identified the waking world at all?
What if the waking world is also a dream?
You see, the way I look at it, Damiel, is that the only reality you can find is inside your mind. What's reality for you is different than reality for me, different than Wyatt here, different for Good Zeal. So who's to say there is a reality at all?
Well, if we go by Descartes, the only person that we really know exists is ourselves. There's no way to actually prove the existence of anybody else. We could be locked up in a nut house somewhere against a padded wall, imagining all of this. Who knows?
see, Marsden started to get that already. Milton and Damiel, you should try it. Just think of an apple and take a bite.
Okay. If you attempt that, give me a power roll.
And I'm thinking of figs.
Figs. Okay.
82. No luck.
No.
Oh wait. That's a pass actually. I've got
Oh,
a
okay,
90 in
yeah.
power.
So that's a regular. So you get like a couple figs. They don't look, like quite as scrumptious as maybe you were hoping they would, but they do look edible.
How do they taste?
Tastes a little old.
Like my soul.
I got a regular success on my pal, but I'm thinking of something like bread. There's no way I'm volunteering fruit into my hand.
Right. You get a bread that a loaf that's maybe been left out of the bread box for a few hours. You know how it starts getting a little hard on the outside. And
Whole meal. Ugh.
So I try and go like this and pull out a fig and a bread and hand it to them.
Okay. Remember, you get a bonus die because
Mhm. 67 and then a 57. So it is a little shy of just a normal success.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta get it. They are better than what they had just because of your experiences of being here and the practice.
Here you go.
All right. So as you kind of wander around, you start getting a map of the city in your head, and Damio, Milton, and Marsden, you can give me a combined intelligence navigate roll to try and map it out in your head. So, like, if you were to walk it again, you could find your way without having someone assist you.
So we roll for both of those.
You just roll once, and you just have to pass both of them. So it's usually navigate's usually the one that's going to be lower.
Yeah, I couldn't pass the navigate, but I definitely passed.
I'm not burning 72 luck to pass
What?
the navigate. No.
But I do assume I don't want to ever go farther than we can see the tower. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd only have to burn 20 luck, but I'm not really worried about getting lost at Limar.
Okay. Yeah. So after walking around, you come to this large yellow poppy field. It's kind of on the edge of town, and it definitely reminds you of the smell of the trap that was in Argus's home.
So Wyatt, Argus has smuggled some of these seeds back to reality. This was what was growing in the greenhouse where I got clonked on the noggin.
Need to inform father and also tell the gentleman when you see him tomorrow about with Seal about that.
Yes, Arapathus. Further indications of a criminal invasion. Or do you think that they grew these in ancient Lomar?
Would I know that?
Well, they wouldn't know it either. So.
Yes, and the time since the Lomarians came to this place, it's unfathomable from our conception of time.
Although, if someone who is visiting the dream worlds when they die stays here forever, there could be ancient Lemurians somewhere in the dream worlds that we could consult. They wouldn't necessarily be in Dream Lomar, though.
True, they could be all over the place, and from the sounds of it, some of them are a little busy in the waking world.
well, we're not discounting the fact that there is possibly something else too. Heaven, hell, who knows? We didn't know this existed. I don't think this is heaven. More like purgatory if you believe in stuff like that. But
well, I do not, but I can see that perspective.
Lack of scientific rigor makes it feel slightly hellish to me.
It took quite a bit of time to get used to that, but as you see, I've made my armor. I've replicated, and then with dreams, you could dream that electricity is still a problem, but I'm working on theories.
See, those of us who are of a more artistic bent, a little less scientifically inclined, are quite at home here.
Mm.
I mean, I meditate daily. I have expanded my thought process 12 steps down.
But do they have coffee?
Oh, sure. I'll conjure some coffee into my hand.
All right, give me a roll.
That is the only way we could get coffee.
All right, a 22 is a hard success on battle.
Oh yeah, that's a good cup of coffee.
Much better.
But we do have quite an array of teas, and I've learned to like them very much.
Teas. To each his own.
All right. So you guys wander around
Get a
the
feel
city,
for the
city
place.
of Lomar. Yeah, you get a feel for the place. The only thing that's really remarkable is the tower and the poppy field. And besides that, it's looks like a city, of residents and all. You don't notice a lot of businesses. It seems like, as Nathaniel implied, a lot of art galleries and all. But it isn't like they've developed a laissez-faire capitalist society.
It's peaceful, pre-modern, pretty, and dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have no further activities until the morning.
All right. You guys head back, and if you go to sleep, you sleep. You don't when you wake, you don't remember a dream of any kind. Could have been you were so tired, or your mind was so worn out from such a new environment. But the day arrives. It's still dark outside though. And Marsden, you wake up to the sound of scratching at your door.
Now, Zeal, can you work the door yourself, or do you still require human assistance for that?
Oh, in here, I still require human assistance. They've built the handles too high for me. I see you sleep as heavy here as you do at home.
Have you been watching me for a while?
Oh well, I'm only in what you call the waking world for a few hours, like your time.
All right. Well, I'm ready to go when you are. How far is this Arapathus fellow?
Oh, he's on the edge of town. He's on the opposite side of the poppy fields. I understood that you visited those last night.
Yes, and I visited an ersatz version in the waking world. Do you know if those seeds existed on Earth, or if they can only originate in the dream?
Oh, they originated in the dream. That's one of the reasons why I chose to hang out at that house. I was most curious where those poppies came from.
Oh, yes. How does one move something from the? Oh, we've heard about a way to move some things from the Dreamlands, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Yes, just it just takes a force of mind to bring it back. Now, of course, the smaller the object, the easier it is to move between the worlds. Like you couldn't bring this building with you, but
No, seeds are essentially ideal. The palm of a hand. You made a very powerful weapon.
yes, yes, it was. I'm sorry about your friends. If I could have warned you, I would have.
Yes, it's a pity. I mean, it's remarkable they mostly made it back.
Yeah.
For that matter, I barely survived, and I just on the head.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. I do like your one friend. He does scratch my ears quite nicely. Were any of the others going to join us?
I assume we would have discussed that before retiring.
Most exciting thing that's happened in 8 years.
Don't have anything else to do, so it's not the most exciting town in the world.
It's not. No.
Ask permission to go, my friend.
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course, they serve breakfast. It's much lighter fare, but it does have little zoog bits in the eggs. So, but then Zilverthos goes, but duty calls. Wyatt, please give my regards to Arapathus for me.
Of course.
Goes, best of luck. He it can sometimes be absent-minded, but he's always listening. But he is listening. Then he excuses himself, kind of brushes off his robes, and he heads down toward the chamber where you guys entered into the tower at the beginning.
Wyatt, did they give you another name here, Wyatt?
No. I just go by Wyatt.
At what time of day does your father begin his
Right
visitation?
after breakfast normally.
So he has a long day of advising the folk.
Some days are slower, some days are more, but I don't plant questions. I sit on it with him. I would normally be next to him now, but you guys are here.
Yes, and it's been a long time since you've seen us.
And then I'm elbowing Marsden again. Good to see you, buddy.
So I'm glad you're still alive somewhere. We didn't know. Our best theory was that, again, your body had been occupied and that we were going to have to grab it back for you. But from the sound of the last treatment you got, I'm glad you've had a good experience here.
Now, a little bit of ways as we're walking, he loosens up a little more like you remember him, but still very much calmer, more centered person than you remember. Sorry, I keep interrupting, Keith.
Yeah, no, that's fine. About halfway there, Zeal kind of stops and he's like, Milton, would you mind carrying me the rest of the way? My legs are a little shorter than yours, and it's quite a workout to stay up with you.
Oh, sure, no problem.
Oh, yes. And he kind of hops right up in there, just how you remember Theodore would with you. So you guys progress along. You come to a building. You would almost think it would look like I want to say like a mission that the Spanish would have built. And there is a tower, and up in the tower you see a gentleman sitting there, and he's staring off out of the city. And you recognize Wyatt and Nathaniel. You recognize that is Arapathus.
Is there anything, as we're progressing across Lomar, is there anything about this Arapathus that we should know that you would want to say in front of him?
The only thing that that Wyatt would know about him is that he seems to be actually probably more knowledgeable of Zelrathos, but he shrinks away from, trying to be the leader of it.
Is he older than Zelrathos?
He does not appear to be older than Zelrathos.
Are there children in the streets?
Yes.
And are there old people?
Yep.
They just are probably very old by my understanding.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Very well.
And Wyatt would know that they generally lived about 150 years. All right, so you get to the mission. The Zeal goes, it's unlocked. Just be sure before you head up there, just to let him know you're coming. He can be a little jumpy at times.
Why didn't you, Cooper? You are acquainted.
Oh, of course. So I'll go up there and lightly tap on the door frame, as I'm accustomed to do.
And he goes, who is it?
It's Nathaniel.
Ah, yes. Come to do some more reading.
Oh, well, not today, actually. We have some more visitors from the waking world who are eager to talk to you.
More visitors. Oh, well, 2 in the last 30 years has been quite a lot. Now more.
Yes, there's 3 this time, in fact.
Oh, well, send them in. Send them in.
I'll wave them in through the door.
And he, as you come in, he kind of looks at you, and he looks like he's probably, by your estimate, he would look like he's about in his mid-30s, but if he was just a human being. He goes, "Oh, well, you weren't kidding, 3 of them, and you brought Zeal. Yeah, what do I owe the privilege? Any friends of Zeal are most welcome."
Remarkably, we're actually acquainted with Zeal in both the waking realm and here.
Ah, you are the ones that he said he would draw here. He said he'd set up a sigil that he said once you were able to enter the realms, you would be brought here instead of to the 700 steps.
Well, a very effective sigil. Then, good work, Zeal.
Goes, thank you. Sorry about not asking your permission. It's sometimes so difficult to try and explain things to the simple-minded.
Yes, well, be that as it may, Arapathis, we have come to ask your assistance. There's been an incursion of the waking world from a group of ancient real-world Lemurians. And so they're using crystals of Nafeth Ka.
What? That is a most heinous act for them to do.
They're a rather heinous bunch, actually. They plan to reestablish a new Lomar in present-day waking Earth. They're occupying several persons against their will and trying to collect their entire cabal in order to effect this.
Those are the ones that stole my body.
Oh, I see. So what I feared has occurred. They've started the chain reaction that will sadly destroy your world.
Yes, I don't think they entirely understand what they've gotten up to, but they're not very concerned with the well-being of others in general. So,
No, they would not be. You would be mere nuisances in the way of their goals.
yes, well, we intend to be rather more than nuisances, but having some crystals of our own might help us affect that.
Because I have not made those in many years. But with some assistance, I'm sure we would be able to. How many would you require?
Fellows, what do you think? We only really were. Here's a question, Arapathis. Can we use them to send the ancient Lemurians back against their will, or can we only use them on the parties that are willing?
That's not quite how they work. They can be used as a storage device. You can store a person's essence in it.
Right. How many of the gray-eyed sons of bitches do we think are currently up at Devil's Pass?
Did we ever ask one of the boys that question, or?
Seems to remember we did, and it was
before
quite
we
a
murdered
big
them
number.
violently.
Yeah, there was quite a. Now you didn't ask how many were gray-eyed. You asked how many people went, and so they said there was a bunch of them.
I feel there's actually my notes are under that.
Oh,
I feel like there were about 10 names, and about half of them were crossed off.
I am
How does that-
finding the handout real quick. There was 1, 2, 3. There were 12 names, 6 of them
Wow.
crossed out.
Oh,
Dozen
pretty
of them.
close.
And I would need to travel back to either find my body or another one to save the waking world. before
Right. I
return.
expect that there are. I expect that they are now 7 because one of them has Wyatt's body, but we're not sure. But since they are currently attempting to open their rift up at Devil's Pass, I think there are no more than 7 Lamarians in reality right now, and so 7 crystals would allow us to capture them, and then we could put those crystals into a very deep fissure.
Well, if we get 8 crystals, then we can bring Wyatt with us, and then still have the 7 left over for the Lomarians.
I suppose, given that materials shouldn't be a tremendous difficulty to acquire here, adjusting my tricorn, would it be particularly taxing to make 8 crystals?
He goes, oh, well, yes, it would. It would, you'd be able to make about 1 a day. That would drain you completely.
Mm.
But a night's rest and a good meal, you'd be able to.
Could you
start
teach
again.
us?
Oh, of course. Zeal feels it's important, and I can tell by the way he's purring in the corner that he does.
Does it take more than one person to make them?
No, but it is easier if there's more than one.
Well, 8 days here should not be more than a handful of minutes in the attic at the sanatorium. I mean, the research facility.
If we all make them, it would cut down the days.
Mm-hmm. He goes, what? But tell me, you say that the Lomarians, where would they have cast the poor victims?
They might be trapped in crystals somewhere.
I had the impression that they were in some kind of tower.
In a tower? What tower?
Well, that's part of the problem, is working out which tower it is.
It might be a tower in ancient Lomar.
Huh.
During the siege.
During the siege? Why would you think that?
Well, we saw the 6-armed, 6-legged, unicorn impersonating polar bear type thing.
Oh, this is most bad. It's like we would need to get them back. He's like, there is a way to cross over the multiple universes and get you back there. There's a ship, a white ship that could take you there. We'd have to wait for a full moon to board it, but
And we'd take the crystals to that tower and collect those lost souls.
yes, if they are truly the ones you're looking for, if they willingly enter, it would be no problem at all to get them to enter the crystals.
And then take the ship back here and then wake from ancient Lomar to our present.
Well, when you were if you were to cross over into ancient Lomar, you would no longer be in the Dreamlands. You'd be in another universe of the real world. So you would have to come back to the Dreamlands to wake back up.
And then we would confront the Nazis with the crystals and drive them out of the bodies and put the correct people back in. That's the idea.
Seems like a plan. I'm not sure what you mean by Nazis. I'm not familiar with this term, but
The evil men.
oh, yes.
It's another regime rising up.
How would we force the evil man in and the true
We'll probably
owner.
learn that in the process of making these things, how they work.
Yeah. Well, it helps if you can force them out while they're asleep. Of course, they're not able to resist. But if they were awake, then it would take a little bit of strength of mind to overcome.
You're on mute.
Having the souls that belong in the bodies makes the transference.
There's something else to
practicable.
consider too. What if the souls of the people trapped in the crystals are conscious? They could be driven insane by being trapped in these crystals if they're aware.
Well,
Well, all
that
these
is
things we'll find out.
it's
Yeah.
true. It's true, but at least they'd have a shot. If they're trapped in ancient Lomar, they have no hope.
Yes, we don't know how long the inhabitants of the tower that Blake saw have before the collapse.
Yeah.
Well, we could get you to one of the universes that has enough time to make it.
Well, let's get busy.
So he goes, first we must conjure the stone needed of amethyst. Then he kind of holds out his hand and he closes his eyes. Okay, good. It was an amethyst. and a large amethyst appears. It's about the size of his hand, so it's pretty good size. He goes, who will be the first one to try and learn?
I had studied the instructions in the waking world, so hopefully I can make early progress.
He goes, very good. He goes, so concentrate, squeeze down on it, and picture casting yourself back to when you were a child. He goes, and as he kind of goes through, give me a power roll.
You're on mute, David.
Sorry, there are fireworks. Hard success.
Hard success. All right, and that costs you 1d12 plus 5 magic points. Yeah, it's a lot. That's why it's gonna wear you out. Okay.
Only 8 this time.
Oh, nice. Well, you are kind of like, oh, that's a good point. Oh, he goes, anyone else willing to attempt?
Oh, well, I love thinking about my childhood.
Like, oh, of course. He goes, and he closes his eyes. Now he has to roll to create this amethyst. He gets 1. 0, 2. Yeah, he makes 1 without any problem at all. Hands it over.
I'll try.
You? Yep, likewise.
What do I need to pass?
That
You need pass a power roll, and it needs to be hard.
and that is an 03, which is an extreme.
Nice. And then 1d12 plus 5 magic.
11.
Ow. Oh, I'm tired.
30 is a hard success for me on POW.
Nice.
I have to spend 18 points to make it a hard.
Yeah, go for it. Mm.
I got an 04
Nice.
without the bonus die.
Okay.
I got a 7 on my magic point. 7
Okay.
plus what?
7 plus 5, so that'd be 12.
Ouch.
1d12 plus 5. Yeah, it's pretty rough. It's a rough one to make.
Total of
Down to 2
14.
magic.
Oh, ouch. I'm assuming most of you are probably out of magic and not willing to start sacrificing
Oh,
hit
wait.
points.
I have
What do I have
one
to
left.
do with magic?
It's you lose 1d12 plus 5.
Oh,
Yeah, I have
1d12. How fun.
I have 8 left, so I could conceivably try a second, but we're not going to get the whole batch today anyway, so I might as well recover before.
Given that this was the hardest I've worked in 10 years,
Yeah,
I'm going to give it a rest.
he says there's no rush, of course, because the full moon for being able to board the ship won't be for a week or so anyway. So
How long is the month here?
it's 28 days.
28 days. And it's always twilight.
Yes.
Do the constellations still go through 12 signs?
I don't know what they do at the North Pole, so yeah, but that's the night sky. It's the North Pole's night sky. So
Oh,
Does it
right.
stay nighttime all year long?
it does. Yeah.
So not 6 months of light and 6 months of dark. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that'd been good. All right. So, unless there was something special you wanted to do while you were in Lomar, we can just kind of fast forward a little bit, and you kind of just go through. You get the stones. You get your 8 stones you were making, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You get your 8 stones made, and then the day arrives when they say that you'll be able to board the white ship. So you get informed that that the white ship will dock at the tip of the tower, and they describe it almost like how a dirigible would dock at the tower, and then the moonbeam will shine down, and you'll be able to walk up it as long. And Zelrathos, he explains, as long as you believe that you can walk on the moonbeam, you'll be able to walk on the moonbeam and enter. The captain is a rather quiet fellow, but he will take you to where you need to go. Be careful when you go by the moon. The moon beasts and their slavers, the men from Ling, are quite cruel.
Now, I have a question. Once we leave the ship, do I need to be inside of a stone? Because I won't have a body in the other.
Oh yeah. Once you leave the ship and you get to Lomar, I should have mentioned this. Arapathis says that is why you're going when it's siege. Unfortunately there will be several bodies available.
Mm.
Got it.
So you have one last mill in the tower. Zeal, of course, joins you, but he says, I hate to tell you this, gentlemen, but I will not be accompanying you on the ship. I have no desire to go past the moon again. He's like, I'll see you in the waking world, I'm assuming. I plan to visit my family back in Ulthar.
Yes, hopefully we'll see you back in the waking world.
Oh, I've seen you somehow pull yourself out of situations that no one should have been able to. I have full faith in you.
That in its own right is quite heartening.
I do my best. So, after the meal, Zelrathos comes up to Wyatt. He's like going, son, I will miss you, but I understand why you leave, and that it is needed. He's like, just know that you being here the last 30 years have been the greatest years ever since my wife died before you arrived. You brought meaning back to my world.
I will see you again. I promise you that.
And he gives you a hug,
Yeah.
And then he goes, gentlemen, the moon is at its fullest. and the ship is here. And you see the white ship docked at the tower with the sails, and you see a man standing near the gangplank. He's got a hood pulled up, but a long beard hanging down, and you see extends out a hand as in a welcoming gesture.
I hope walking on moonbeams isn't too unscientific for you, Lethbridge. Let's go.
I think it's a good thing that I've been here for a little while and gotten used to preposterous things happening on a regular basis.
Preposterous? This is the most natural thing I've ever done.
All right. And all of you can give me, I know it's a lot of it, but give me a power roll with a bonus die. And as long as you pass, you'll have the
75 is a pass.
21 before I even roll the bonus die. So yeah, I'm fine.
I needed it. I went from 96 to 06.
Ouch.
That was my Lethbridge leap of faith.
All
Both
right.
passed and an extreme. This one.
Nice. So you walk up the moonbeam, and as you get to the white ship, the captain looks at you. He doesn't say anything, but he steps out of the way and allows you to board. And then after a bit of time, you push off and you begin sailing on air, essentially, but it's moving like you're actually on the sea. And all of you can give me sanity checks for that. That's
Are there other passengers?
there is not.
And 85 is a pass on the dot.
Nice.
02.
No, yeah, you're like going.
Yeah.
All right, after this, I'm
14.
sailing on the ship.
12. Everything's fine. If this crashes, it's still a dream. That's how I'm dealing with it.
All right. So as you're you're sailing along for several days, he seems to always have fish to eat. There is a cabin boy that sometimes comes out, and he does talk to you, but most of the time he's adjusting the sails, messing with the rudder, and everything. And you get the impression that him and the captain are able to communicate, although you can never hear anything said.
And what are we sailing across? I mean, we're in the air. Were we sailing? Do we leave a spherical dream world and then?
If you look down, you see the forest. You do see what Nathaniel, who'd been to Ulthar, he points out. Oh, there's where Ulthar is, and yeah, it looks just like a flat though. You like if you look off the distance, you don't see like a curvature or. And after a few days of sailing, you start approaching the moon, and this is the first time you've ever seen the captain start getting actually kind of nervous. He starts in any of the lights that he kept in his cabin, he turns off, and he's kind of goes around and puts his finger up to his mouth and gives a. And who has the lowest luck?
I have a 60.
Definitely not me. I've got 99.
Yeah, I was gonna say Milton's been doing good. I will hopefully start making spin luck.
At a 63.
Okay.
96.
All right. I think it's you, Nathaniel.
All right.
Give me a luck roll.
Ooh. 02.
All right. So as you pass by the moon, you pass on the dark side of the moon, of course. But you see coming around, you see another ship, and on board you see these antlered, like curled antlered men with whips, and you see on the ship you can see like reflections off the moonlight of shackles. But with that luck roll, they sail off away from you rather to you. And after about a few hours of quietness, you head out. You pass by and you see the captain relax again. And the cabin boy comes up and he's like going, he's like, we'll soon be approaching the astral realm. That's where you'll find the gate that will take you back to the universe that we were told you were going to. Because I hope your journey's been pleasant, because the astral realm is quite awful. So, as it sails on, you kind of you pull up to this. It looks almost like a roiling like nova of cloud dust and all. But you start seeing like little doorways, archways kind of form. It looks like a long hallway. The captain drops an anchor, which doesn't seem to dive into anything, but then just has the chain hanging there. The cabin boy goes, we'll wait for you here. Please use the life raft or the lifeboat to sail on."
Many thanks for the passage. How do we know where to take the lifeboat? Or is it through that portal, I guess?
Yes, through the gate, yes.
Oh, I hope we'll be back soon.
He goes, I hope so too. In 28 days, we need to meet. We need to be in Ulthar so that we can take some more passengers.
Mm-hmm.
Then I assume you guys get on the lifeboat?
Yeah.
It's very funny if we didn't.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, well, that was awesome.
Take the boat to ship ourselves.
Yep. As you get on the ship, who's going to row?
Oh, bro.
All right.
A couple of us rowing.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah. I could get two of you rowing. Yeah. Give me, whoever's the strongest, give me a strength roll.
70.
Got a 50.
All right. Give me a strength roll, right?
48. So that is just the regular.
Okay. All right. You guys get kind of rowing along, and you start passing through these various archways, and they start getting spaced out a little bit further. You see like space dust coming through, and then everyone give me a spot hidden.
07.
19.
95.
Yeah, 92.
70 is a regular success for me.
All
I'm
right.
just rolling.
If you pass, you see coming almost at a diagonal above you another ship traveling quickly. But what disturbs you is there are 5 passengers that look exactly like you, except for their mouths are extra wide, and inside they have these razor sharp teeth. And you see them point at you and start rowing much quicker.
Faster, lads.
And give me a sanity roll, and then that's where we'll end it.
46 is a pass.
13.
I passed. 27.
Pass.
100.
Ooh.
I'm glad we're not rowing.
If you pass, that's only 1 point. If you rolled a 100, you lose 6 sanity.
I'm going to burn 6 luck.
I'm gonna absorb my loss with a luck point.
All right, sounds good.
Admittedly, I'll then regain that luck immediately the next
Exactly. That's all right. And that is where we will end it for the evening.
Great.
Fantastic.
Remarkable.
Our players included Jason Melnichuk, Matthew Sanderson, David Gassaway, Morgan Llewellyn, and myself, with Keith Craig as the Keeper of the Secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.